It's about that time of day again. Welcome to your nightly newsletter, boys and girls. My name is Joseph James. It is Thursday evening, February 26th day of February 2015. In tonight's newsletter, boy, do we have an exciting newsletter for you. Where do I start? How about some crude oil? Crude is bearish today after just a little tiny reversal off those highs. We called that a mile away last night. But beware, though. The new lows that we saw today on crude oil at $48 a barrel, they weren't confirmed with volume, and we have a little channel overshoot. It's actually a quite large channel overshoot after that collapse today. So it tells us we're likely to try to move back to 50 before we return back to 48. How about gold? Boy, gold made a huge run at those range highs today, as we expected, right? Nothing surprising there. We called that a mile away last night. But once again, volume is confirming a little bit different story. Not as bullish as we may think at first glance here on gold. And it looks like that volume confirms that we are headed lower here on Friday. I got some charts to talk about on that. Russell's bullish, making new highs today, but look closely at the Russell, and we see the Russell lost some serious strength late in the day today, which tells us to wait for a deeper pullback on Friday before we can buy some more. As you can see, we have a great newsletter for you guys and gals this evening, but before we begin, I want to remind you to make sure you're watching this video on our trading blog here at sidewaysmarkets.com. Head over to sidewaysmarkets.com. If you're watching this video on our YouTube page, we have a very, very extensive YouTube channel, but below the video, in the description of the video, you're going to see a link that will take you right back to this page. And there are 3 reasons why you should be interested in watching this video on our trading blog. First one, you can download all the charts I'm going to go over with you guys this evening. You can download all of those right below the video. Second thing, I'd love to give you a free pass to come out and test drive my live trade room as a member of School of Trade. If you're not a member yet, maybe you're curious. What's all the chatter about? What's everybody talking about? How do we use these newsletters every day in our trade room, right? What does it feel like to be in our trade room? What does it mean to be a member here at SchoolOfTrade.com? I got a free pass for you guys. Give you a trial run of our live trade room. And of course, last but not least, right above my ugly mug, I have a spot for you to register for my nightly newsletter mailing list. All I need is your name and your email address, and I'll send you an email every evening when the newsletter goes out. Guys, 3 things here on our trading blog. 1, download those charts for today. 2, grab your free pass for my trade room as a guest. And 3, register for your nightly newsletter mailing list. Now, don't forget, if you grab the free pass or you register for the mailing list, I'm going to send you an email to verify I've got the right email address. So make sure you check your email inbox, spam, junk, whatever else you got out there to make sure you get the verification email. All righty, you ready to go? Helmets on, seatbelts fastened. Final day this week. Boy, have we had an incredible week in the markets this week. All right, let's start out with the yellow metal. That funny yellow metal they call gold futures. And I'll tell you, we're going to go into some charts here, and there's a lot of back and forth this evening. It took me a little bit longer than normal. Actually, it took me about twice as long this evening to do my analysis because there is quite a bit of back and forth, and you're going to see what I'm talking about in just a moment. Let's dig in here to gold. Gold is range bound. We have this large range highs, range lows, pretty much using this 1200 as a target, somewhat in the middle, right, towards the lower third of that range. Now, what happened today, just like we expected, the buyers took this thing higher here today, really very, very early in the London session, and then really the U.S. session was nothing more than a bunch of bears. So it was bulls in the London session, bears in the U.S. session, kind of back and forth here. So buyers took the price higher, just shy of the range highs before losing control. Then price tumbles off the highs back down towards our 1200 target. That's exactly what we expected and talked about in last night's newsletter. But here's where the clues start to pile up. Volume. If you look down bottom here, we get a double top up top, right? Little tiny double top. They're actually quite a long time away from each other, about 5 hours difference. And you'll notice the volume confirms here. Well, volume does not confirm, right? We get lower volume on that second hit. That means that buyers just kind of gave up on it. Then, of course, this channel break occurs. We see this channel break. And so now that we have this bullish channel break, we know that the late adopters to this bull run, right? Everyone who didn't quite drink the Kool-Aid with me last night down here for the buy, right? You know who you are. If you missed the move up, you're probably thinking, ooh, I get one more shot at it. But the reality is the buyers that are coming in right now are just a little bit too late. We've already seen the volume confirmation or lack of confirmation of the highs. So that's where the smoke starts billowing out of this smokestack, so to speak, right? And where there's smoke, there's usually fire. So we're seeing some smoke up here in the lack of volume confirmation. I would imagine, it's not going to be as easy as just rolling over and playing dead. It may, but I would imagine that we're going to get some late adopters. We're going to get some last-minute buyers here on the gold, those poor, poor souls, because what's likely to happen is we're going to go up, most likely somewhere in this area right around here. We're going to get that reversal and right back down. Will we get to 1200 tomorrow? I couldn't tell you if we get all the way back to 1200. Like I said, there's a little bit of back and forth on this thing. There is a likelihood, there is a chance that we could go all the way back up and retest that high. Again, we're going to get some buyers here most likely, right? I'll be very surprised if we don't just roll over. I'd be very surprised if we just roll over and play dead. I'd be shocked, to be honest with you. So we get this higher high, higher low. You're going to get buyers here, but the volume tells you I just don't expect them to go very far. So I'm looking for price to get up here towards these highs, and then once we start seeing the buyers struggle, we know now either grab the reversal or wait for the wave patterns, continuation patterns, right, that come back to the downside, okay? Volume is the big clue here on the gold. Now here is another very interesting chart. Like I said, there's a lot of back and forth on this, which leads me to believe we're probably going to go higher here before these buyers run out of gas. And you can actually see as I'm recording this right now, we just opened up the Globex session overnight here in Asia, and you can see here it is pushing higher as we speak. So gold price action is balanced. The long-term bull channel tells us the buyers are definitely here. You can see this long-term bull channel. Okay, the buyers are definitely here, but check out some other clues. Now remember, in this area on the anchor chart, we saw volume, volume didn't confirm. Well, on this chart though, what do you see? I see an undershoot. Now an undershoot is a sign of weakness. So whatever happened here, those buyers, well, they tried. They tried once, they tried twice, and they gave up on it. Now as we go lower, you can see in the U.S. session today, right, if I hover my crosshair over here, you can see right about when the U.S. session began. So this was London, right, from 3 a.m. until 7:30 a.m., 8 o'clock, and then, of course, you got 8 until the end of the morning here on gold. So it was London up, U.S. down, and so, of course, the recent bear channel tells us the sellers are ready to react, but we need to see these buyers try once more. That's, in my opinion, we're going to want to see the buyers try one more time here before we get it to tumble right back down. Now, if I had to guess right now, I would guess these levels right here, 12.15.9, and then wherever we retest the lows of this channel. Okay, this will not be the first or the last time you see a market break a trend line, retest that trend line before heading back lower. So again, if my gut comes through here again in a pinch this evening, I would say we go higher again because of that big bull channel and because of just there's going to be some unsuspecting buyers here that come in that they missed the move higher. But again, that undershoot and then the last chart, the lack of volume, I think that tells a story. Now, if we happen to take off tomorrow, right, again, we're going to get some buyers here. So remember, I'm not blindly selling. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for those buyers to try and then whoop, slip and fall, and we can get this thing coming right back down. If they don't slip and fall, though, we may have a nice big run up here. That measured move target you can see here, we may make a run for that 1225 tomorrow late in the morning. We shall see. We shall see. It's going to be an exciting day on a Friday for gold traders out there. Again, a lot of back and forth, though, as you can see right now. So we're basically banking on these buyers to try and fail here tomorrow. How about that Russell? How about that mighty mini Russell? So Russell's been as easy as shooting fish in a barrel this week, right? Taking candy from babies. Not that I recommend that, of course. But we know it's been a pretty darn easy, profitable week here on the Russell, and it's starting to look like the party just might be coming to an end here for these buyers, at least for the short term. Here's why I say that. We can see higher highs, higher lows in this chart, but then, of course, we look at volume. And volume, you can see here, I've got multiple volume confirmation. Mark up these highs, mark up these highs, right? That's not a good-looking picture for volume confirmation. Okay, that's one thing. And then you see the most recent highs. This high right here made a little one-tick higher high there. So we'll use that high and this high, and of course you line those up, and that's pretty much flat, right? Pretty much flat. Very, very weak. So if anything, there's just a hair of strength here on that most recent buying volume. Bottom line though, we've had a great run this week. If you took my advice this week and bought those dips on this Russell, you made a killing. Let's take the money off the table, make our money, lock it up, put it in the bank account, and be careful here tomorrow. So what I would recommend is stay patient, wait for that deep, deep pullback before you go buying any more on this Russell. Unless, of course, there's one thing tomorrow that will change my mind completely, and that is if we bust higher on increasing volume. So tomorrow morning, I'll be watching volume very closely in our trade room to make sure that if we do go higher, if that volume confirms, then we know by the next pullback and you're going up to those targets overhead. If you see price go higher, guys, tomorrow morning, and we don't confirm with volume, don't take it. It's a trap, right? So be careful with this. If it goes to those highs and you don't see volume confirm, and don't forget, if you need help on this stuff, let me know, right? Come see me tomorrow morning in the trade room and I'll walk you right through it. Now, here is, in my opinion, a much more, what's the word I'm looking for? More precise. We get a lot more information out of this chart, and of course, for good reason. We can see we've got a tick chart here, so we're going to be able to see the open, high, low, close, the bodies, the wicks, things that we don't get on those JJ bar charts. So as you can see in this chart, we don't look as bullish. I mean, we're definitely bullish. You can see there's actually 3 channels on this chart. There's the long-term channel, and you can download this chart and see where that long-term channel comes from. The link's below the video. There's the long-term channel. There's the medium-term channel, which is really a nice-looking channel here. The midline holds very nicely in here. You can see that's a very well-respected channel. And then you got to kind of put the reading glasses on this one to see the small one. There's your short-term channel. Now, the short-term channel really is a very, very big clue. And so we look at this, we can see the bullish long-term trend. However, we also see a clear trading range. And I want you to pay close attention to 1, 2, 3. Those are dojis. See those big wicks? Notice how we didn't get that here. We didn't get that here. We didn't get that here. See that? There was no big wicks there. There was no big wicks there. Who are you calling a big wick by? Right? No big wicks there. See what I'm saying? There was decisive movement at those highs. Up and then came back down. Now we start seeing a little bit of frothiness, right? Kind of feels like we're bubbling up a little bit. Should I go higher? Should I take my profit? Should I hold on to it? I don't know. Try it again. I don't know. Should I go higher? Should I take profit? I don't know. Try it again, right? I'm sure some of you were saying, Joe, it's a head and shoulders, my man, right? Maybe that's the case too. What I'm looking at though is I see 3 things on this chart that really tell me I'm suspicious of this price going higher. First thing has to do with this short-term channel. You'll notice we see an undershoot of that channel high, right? Basically, that means that we never made it back up to that high. That's the first clue, weakness in the buyers. The second clue is going to come from this trading range. We're up near the highs of this trading range. That means we have resistance up here at 1238.3. And then the third clue, which I really think gives us some of the best information, is that kind of triple whammy here, doji, 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 as we go higher. It just goes to show that when people get up here, they said, oh, I don't know, maybe try, oh, maybe not, and it doesn't look like, well, we're definitely right now not getting any confirmation of the upside. That's why I said before, if we go to that new high, confirm it on volume. Confirm it with a nice, big, strong break. Don't take any sissy breakouts here tomorrow because we're seeing a little bit of smoke here. And, I hate to overthink this stuff. I don't like to think too much. It gives me a headache. I tend to get dizzy. I'm kidding with you. But, we don't want to overthink it. Just follow what the chart tells you. But if I did want to overthink it, a little bit of me says, boy, all these buyers made all this money this week. I'm tempted to put that money in my back pocket instead of putting it back in the market on Friday, So we got a little bit of that going on right now too. So be ready for a bull trap at these highs. If we go higher, be ready for a bull trap. If we just push right through though on volume, then you can buy it on a pullback and you get some great targets waiting for you here. There literally is a triple target up there at 1242.8. Now, we had projected up to 45s earlier on this week. Doesn't look like we're going to get there in one swoop. Maybe I'm wrong, but the way it looks right now, though, it's going to be difficult to get through this 1242.8. So let's talk about our scenarios here for the Russell. First of all, what if we go sideways? If we go sideways and we stay inside this range, buy the lows of this range. If we go lower, beware, there's a bear trap down here. Don't sell that low. If we go lower, wait for it and then buy that low. Okay? Don't be a fool. Don't sell that low, right? Professionals like us are waiting to take your money. It's going to go a little bit through it and then come right back up. Bottom line, stay to the buy side. Stay to the buy side. But as we push back, though, as we pull back, I'm looking to buy the low of the range. I'm looking to buy the support levels of the channels. I'm looking to buy the swing low at 1229. That's if we go lower or if we go sideways. If we go higher, be very careful to get trapped being a buyer right at those highs. I would recommend you wait for the break, confirm it on volume, wait for the pullback, and then wait for that nice, big, strong green candle right at 38.3 to trigger you in long and then up to that 42.8 target overhead. All right, guys? Don't get too greedy tomorrow on this Russell. Like I said earlier, if you made some money with me this week, not a bad idea to bank that profit, right? Buy the kids some ice cream. Take them to a movie. That's a better use of your money for tomorrow. All right, guys? Let's move on to crude oil. Last but not least here, boy, are we having fun on this crude yet? Come on. Are we having fun? What's our average right now? Like $3, $4 and change every day? This is insanity, and I love every minute of it. What an exciting time to be a crude trader. I've been trading crude for more than half my life, and this is by far the most exciting time I've seen. Guys, I'll tell you right now, if you're not a crude trader, you're really missing out on some awesome tradable opportunities here on crude right now. And as we said last night, last night we called this entire, well, I shouldn't say I called the entire move. I called it back to 49. So I wasn't exactly correct. If you remember from last night's newsletter, we had this channel on it last night, and I said, no. The volume's not confirming. We said expect them to try and then fail 50 and then 49. So we got the 49. That was easy. I wasn't expecting the just complete collapse back to 48. It really shows you these buyers, and I love it how people keep telling me this is accumulation, right? They need to get a dictionary and look up the term accumulation. But the amazing part is that you can see the buyers, right? You keep getting the buyers trying to take nibbles here, but they're so quick to just dump it, right? Look what happened here. We sat here about 10:30 this morning, and then it was all of a sudden it was like the buyers were like, okay, you win, and it just tanked. They just walk away from it. It's been absolutely, it's completely bearish right now, but we're getting these little momentum shifts, every few days right now. So let's talk about this on crude. First of all, you're probably screaming at the screen right now. I would be. Megaphone, right? Didn't you say these were rare, Joe? I was just talking to John Henry this afternoon about this stuff, and I said if we had to nickname this year, this would be the year of the megaphone. We have seen more megaphones, and these are historically very, very rare because they're extremely volatile patterns. Look at this thing. Higher highs and lower lows. What more do you want, right? So megaphones are usually very rare. Historically, they're very rare, right? I can count the number of megaphones that I've seen in the last 5 years on 1.5 hands. We've had triple that in just these first 2 months of the year. It's been exciting, though, to say the least. Megaphones. When you see a megaphone, it tells you volatility. Okay, that's pretty much what it tells you. And it also tells you to expect price to go up and down inside that megaphone. Okay, now that's the first clue that we get, that we may be in store for another wild ride tomorrow. Let's see if we can pick up on direction. The megaphone tells us the volatility will likely continue, but I want to direct your attention to the most short-term channel here. This short-term channel, this is the channel that we came off of today. You'll notice an extreme overshoot. That overshoot is pretty darn dramatic. They were dipping into Papa's cough syrup a little bit too much on that drop. So we know that what's going to happen, human beings, right? They love to binge and then starve themselves. Human beings love to go to extremes. So we overshoot the low as the buyers just stepped aside, and I would assume now that's going to result in an overcorrection back to the highs. That's the first clue that we get that tells me we're probably going to head back towards 50 before we make the next leg down. Now, how about some real proof? Volume. Volume is flat at this low. And this is no surprise. This is absolutely no surprise, because the way that this thing collapsed today, it was relatively low volume. It wasn't a sell-off on strength. Okay? Kind of like the opposite scenario of what we're seeing on the Russell. Okay, where the Russell tried to go higher, didn't go higher on strength today. Crude, it did collapse, but if you look under the surface, it didn't go lower on much strength. In fact, the most amount of strength came right about right here at 49.5 today. You can see all that volume piling up there. So combine the overshoot at the low, which tells us to expect an overcorrection, along with flat volume, kind of lack of confirmation. We're definitely still bearish. So I'm definitely going to still err on the side of selling. But I got to tell you, you can probably look for a buy opportunity here back towards this magnet, at least up to that 49.5 area before we get a chance here to bring it right back down. So what's the plan for tomorrow? The plan is going to be most likely overnight. If you're in the US, you're probably not going to be able to get this move. But if you're in Asia, if you're in London, or if you're almost as crazy as I am here in the US, you might be able to grab that move here going higher overnight, right? But it's going to happen fast. It'll happen fast because traders will take profit off their shorts, right? And of course, we'll get some bargain hunters. Tomorrow, though, what I'm going to be looking for is this. The first thing to look for tomorrow is look for the buyers to try to keep pushing it and fail. Once those buyers try to keep pushing it and fail, then we know we've got them right where we want them, and we can sell this sucker right back down. That's the benefit of staying patient to wait for a sell. So when I say you can take a buy in the short term, a smart trader says, yeah, but I know we're bearish. So rather than spending my bullets on trying to buy counter trend, I'd rather just stay patient, wait for the buyers to fail. That way I'm ready, willing, and able to get short on it when the time is right for me later on in the session. Okay? So I recommend staying to the bear side, but again, like I said, if you like to gamble a little bit, you can probably grab a buy back towards that 50, and then by the time we come back into the US session tomorrow, I'll be very surprised if we're not sitting around this 49.5 here, and then we're going to wait and see if those sellers take it at 9 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow at the US opening bell on crude. All right, guys? Last but not least here, look at this chart. This is the emptiest chart I think I've had all week. I almost feel guilty having such a blank chart out here right now, right? Where is everything? This is part of the stuff that I was talking about earlier when I said we got a little bit of a tough scenario here, right? There's a lot of back and forth. Big drop down, but we expect it to go back up. So here's what we're seeing on our price action chart. Follow the bouncing ball. Here's the low of that megaphone, by the way. The high of that megaphone will be up here, right? So a ways away. So if we do end up collapsing, that's where we're targeting here, down to that low of that megaphone. Follow the bouncing ball here. We can see the long-term bear channel. The long-term bear channel is definitely there. You can see we have the midline acting just nicely. But look at this collapse, right? This is the stuff that we were selling today in the trade room. We had a nice run down here today. We actually nibbled here, nibbled there on the buy, back to 50. And then when it rolled over, it was sell, sell, and then the collapse all the way back down. This dramatic collapse all the way back down, I'm just amazed it didn't give us a bigger overshoot on this chart, right? I'm amazed at that. Very, very interesting. Bottom line, though, is we know what happened on low volume. That big collapse is likely going to result, like we said earlier, in some profit taking. Then we go and we draw a new channel. We have a new channel going higher. Now you'll notice we have stayed very, very politely inside this channel. That tells me the buyers are organized here and ready to rock and roll. So what I would expect is, I would expect a bear trap, go lower, and then a push into what I'm going to call the battle zone for tomorrow. This 49.24 to 49.62 area. And again, expect this price to try to go a little bit lower. What's going to happen is, it's I don't want to call this the sharks or the, they're not going to, it's not manipulation. It's just natural price action. But basically what's going to happen is you're going to have sellers who saw this big move lower. They're going to wake up tomorrow morning and go, okay, let's sell it. Well, the problem though is these buyers are clearly here, right? This is not a foo-foo bullish move here. So it's profit taking fueled by most likely some bargain hunters. So I would expect price to go lower and then make its push higher. We're going to get up into this battle zone here, and I call it the battle zone because you can see this consolidation. And this is where we really sat here today. If you were to put a volume profile on the right-hand side, you would most likely see all the volume piled up right in this area right here. So my gut tells me we fake out to the downside, go back to the upside, and then make that move lower. Only other scenario here is we fake break to the downside, into the battle zone, we push up to 50, and we just sit, right? And we just sit here tomorrow. That would be the third scenario. All right, guys? So kind of follow the bouncing ball here. If we go lower, I would definitely be careful taking the bait to the downside. Again, my gut tells me we're going to go lower here just a bit, but then we're probably going to go higher. If we can't make a new high, okay, here's the deal. If it goes lower here, that high, let me make this easier, okay, 49.02. If we go lower here overnight, we're expecting price to retest that high and go into the battle zone. If we go lower overnight and can't get to retest that 49.02, we're going to head back lower. They're just simply not strong enough. Okay, and that may happen. What I think is going to happen, though, is we break lower, trap in those sellers, run them out of the market, back into this high volume area, consolidation area, right around 49.50. I've called the battle zone, and then there's going to be a battle here. And what's going to happen is we'll probably run up to 50 from there before having a shot to make the move back lower. Okay, so if we do get back into the battle zone, just be careful tomorrow on the way back down. We'll wait for a clear break to the downside and then sell it back to the low here at 47.89. But again, you're going to see it. It's probably going to go back to that 50 here and consolidate, I would imagine, for tomorrow. All right? Buyers, you guys have one shot here to get it back to 50. If you can't get it done here overnight, though, those bears are going to come back here with a cup of coffee in their hands and sell this sucker back down tomorrow. As you can see, there's a little bit of back and forth here, right? It's a little bit of a question mark because of this just dramatic tumble and then the low volume. The low volume at that low is really what tells me I don't think we're going to revisit it unless we go higher first. Right? They're going to try to retest this area, and then they'll try to push it back lower. All right, guys? Careful those traps out there. Careful those traps out there. All righty. Wrapping things up here for our nightly newsletter. What a great week. What a great week we had. I want to thank you so much for spending your most valuable commodity with me, your time with me every evening. Our nightly newsletter is done every evening, Monday through Thursday. I want to remind you guys to download our charts today, grab your free pass, register for the newsletter list, and of course, if you happen to stumble over here to SchoolOfTrade.com, check out SchoolOfTrade.com. We get the best free trial in the business. I can pretty much guarantee you I have the best free trial on the planet. And I would love to know what you think. So give me some feedback. I'll prove it to you. Join that free trial. Don't forget, we got beginner, intermediate, and advanced. 3 levels of membership here at School of Trade. And you know the drill. We've always got someone standing by here to help you guys out 24/7, 365. All right, guys. You guys and gals have a great evening. Be ready for tomorrow. My trade room opens at 8 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow morning. I'll see you there. If not, next newsletter is next Monday, and we're going to be in the month of March, guys. The month of March is right around the corner, so we'll see you next Monday. If you're not in my room tomorrow morning, my name is Joseph. Be well, be nice to each other, and stay warm out there this weekend, guys. We'll see you tomorrow or next Monday. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.